on series. It will begin here on Highview in a Mongol mirror matchup. Let's kick this one off.
Spawning in on the right side of the map is going to be B, placing that blue town center close to that wood line. Whereas on the other side, Artie is going to open up on the left side over here. Having the town center placed close to an Ovu will help him a lot with the pastures. Whereas on the other side, we will have a very similar lineup for B. You get the feel that both of these players have a nearly identical start here. The only thing that you may want to look at here, though, as you referred to before the game, is going to be gold mine placements, which might be not so suitable for B. In fact, looking at this gold mines placements, I'll be very worried if I was him.
What in the bejesus is happening? I mean, the crazy part is if he actually just went north, he would have been better off. But instead, yeah, B, he saw the easy route, he saw the hard route. He went, well, I'm 3 games up. I'll take the hard route. And it means that Artie does have a very nice condensed economy. Like, both of them getting that beautiful UV placement right next to their TC, which does, of course, open up the potential for pastures. And then Artie. I mean, if you're playing Mongols, what are you looking for, right? When you hit that step readout, you want that nice cruise through of gold after gold after gold. And he has that in bundles straight away right next to his base.
Indeed, that is a way better spot for Artie to start with, because as you said, there's a lot more gold to work with, it's a lot safer. One of them is actually hidden behind the stealth forest, which could make it even more appealing because it's going to be difficult for the opponent to find it potentially. Looking at the food spots, it's worth noting that both players have a rather close hunt for their town centers, so it's something that they can operate with. Berries are both on the front though as well for B, so B probably has a way worse map to start with than Artie, but it looks like he's coming in with a ton of aggression in Dark Age. He's the type of guy that loves to put up pressure early on, and he's going to do just that over here. The question is, how is he going to be able to do damage here when the opponent's base is so condensed?
Well, the interesting thing is Artie's leaving himself vulnerable. He done the greedy play, like so many players do when they got an UV parked right next to their TC. He drops the pasture. Now, remember, these are not cheap, ladies and gents. 150 wood. That is the price of a military building. That is why one person has stables and the other one is just stuck here pushing out sheep. And last time I checked, these units, they don't really fight very well. 12 health, no attack damage, terrible unit. And look at the move by Artie. Instead, he's going to shift onto the right gold vein. What? No way. It's on the edge of his vision. Did he not spot this?
He sees it. That's an awkward choice, and this could be problematic.
That's the concern, right? He sees it, but does he see it? Because there's things we should see and there's things we don't. I mean, it's just sitting right there, right on the tippity-tip of vision. I don't know. This could actually be a critical mistake. I mean, the other thing I was going to highlight is if he does play this west, one way B could exploit this is everything plays around the stealth forest. And I'm wondering if that's why he's not taking it, is because he's paranoid that he might get struck there. But look at that. Moving in with the horsemen. The outpost placement is going to pay off for the moment. However, if you get like 6 or 7 of these horsemen, you get up to feudal, all of a sudden it's very easy to burn for this outpost. But for the moment, B, you can see how he's suffering because at this stage, the early horsemen with only 100 health and 1 ranged armor get picked apart pretty quick.
Indeed, they get picked apart pretty quick, as you said, and it's not going to be possible for B to take that tower down. So what he needs to do is just keep coming in every once in a while and force the opponent's villagers to jump back in. That's exactly what he needs to do. Just keep repeating this, because one thing that you can accomplish this way is delay the opponent's feudal age. And yourself, being B, you didn't have to invest into that tower. So your opponent already spent a ton of wood on that tower. And he's also going to be unable to mine gold consistently because you see, you're jumping back and forth in between that gold mine and tower, and this is delaying the feudal age of Artie tremendously. Whereas B, of course, is also going to be slightly slower than feudal age than ordinary because he made a stable and he's investing into horsemen. But at least he has a production building going for him that he can use in feudal.
And he is denying Artie the ability to tech up as he keeps running in and forcing those garrisons. So you can see, like, right now, B has more gold. He needs to sort his food, but as long as he doesn't instantly lose these horsemen and shifts them out quickly each time, this delay is adding up. It's hurting Artie's timing. And I'm starting to think that, like, he didn't notice that gold vein, that it was maybe, like, a UI bug or something, because you know, even the risk of the stealth forest, the difference of being able to play towards that, being able to reinforce quickly, like, it's a day and night difference to where you're in no man's land with this gold vein.
Now, one of the problems here for B is that he lost quite a lot of horsemen out here. In fact, if you look at the KD, that's already 3 horsemen lost, and those are expensive casualties even if you use double training out here. So Artie is so far successful with the defense, and it looks like he's not going to be delayed that much compared to his opponent. He does have quite a lot of sheep to work with, and he also has a pasture. Whereas on the other side, the amount of food underneath the town center for B is getting concerning. He's just now dropping his first pasture. For B, the path is clear. he needs to continue adding horsemen. And once he gets the feudal, grab the horseman upgrade. So once he's got those feudal age horsemen, he can jump on this gold mine and pressure that.
Exactly. It's the extra armor. Like, it really does show. Not just the extra health. I think it's the extra 20 you get. All of a sudden, like, great bang for buck. It's not even that expensive an upgrade, in fact, folks. It just costs 100 resources to get your hands on. Now, the question is what Artie's move is going to be. Like, once this tech up's complete, really, like, usually when you're this delayed on putting down a military building, you're going to archers. But now your opponent has stables, so you're going to have to pivot into the racks. And that might just give the edge for B to then plow ahead into a stable archery range composition. And that's where there might be an opportunity to once again strike at Artie, because you've already kind of given over that initial ground. You've given B the opportunity to start kind of weaving this trap with these horsemen riding around in the shrubbery lines, right, with the stealth forests.
Indeed, there is cons trading fire on the left side over here, but really that's going to have minimal impact on this battle. Those cons, however, you have to keep those alive, because on a map that has so many stealth forests, that extra vision is vital. So having to keep that con alive is probably the biggest priority right now for both of these players. The HP advantage is on the side of B though, so obviously he's the one pursuing, but he's not up to feudal age yet, so Donati gets his buff a tiny bit faster, which will give an edge to him, and now B is gonna have to call off his con here.
Wait, he doesn't want to, because what he's doing is he's shifting the horseman back. And the horseman, he's going to run right past and get Yam movement speed. And you see B, he's going to sidestep into it as well. So he juices himself up. He's going to start the fight. He's constructing the outpost to try and defend his own gold vein. But now that the horseman is here, all of a sudden there's going to be a bad trade for Artie. Remember, this horseman does get bonus damage up against the Khan, and that's why Artie activates the arrow to run away.
He needs to activate the arrow, but once that's gone and the Yam speed is there, the horseman will still be able to get some shots going. And suddenly, especially if that speed arrow would be activated by B, he currently has that on recharge, he would be able to pursue that Khan, and the Khan is going to get taken down.
I don't know how that happened, but that Khan was technically, I don't know if you saw it, Lidakor, he was on 0 health and still alive. That is how badly he didn't want to die, but in the end, B will be able to snipe him out. And that's a big loss. Like, you know, it cannot be stated how valuable these Khans are, usually. But in a mirror matchup where we talk about the smallest things making the biggest difference, having your Khan missing for 2 minutes at this stage in the game is crippling.
Especially if you look at his vision. He's just now making a tower on that left-hand side gold mine. I think he's realizing that gold deposit. But he has no insight into those forests. He's going to have to place towers to have any kind of vision into those. And on the other side, B is going to be able to acquire targets much easier with that Khan being still around. It looks like we're not seeing any army coming out, though, from B. He just wants to go straight to castle, as it seems. He's banking up a ton of food. We're not seeing any additional units popping out of him, and he's just going for the arrow slits upgrade on his tower. I think he's realizing that Donati isn't pushing him, and he's just confident that he's going to be able to undercut his castle edge timing, which may or may not happen, because Donati just wants to go fast castle himself.
Yeah, it's actually remarkable as well, because like B is essentially just kind of playing this bluff game, right? Because he was the one aggressing constantly. The one time Artie comes across to his side of the map, he kills his Khan. So all of a sudden, Artie doesn't want to aggress to begin with because he doesn't have the Khan. Like, if you're out of position, you get chased down. And B, if you look at the way he built his base, like, he should be scared. He built up his eco right next to a stealth forest. This is usually punishable. But it's almost like he's just gambling on the fact that because Artie's been kept in check on the Khan, he's never going to aggress him in the next 2 minutes.
Absolutely. B is a big gambler. That's the thing. And we have seen that in the previous games as well. So he's the type of guy that really doesn't worry about a lot of things. He's the no risk it, no biscuit type of a person. And oftentimes it pays off, because one thing that he gains this way is that he, for example, can avoid placing a tower here, so he has insight into that forest. Or he doesn't have to keep his Khan back at home. And if you compare it to Donati, for example, he's got towers on both of his gold mines. In fact, he has moved away from that far right side gold mine. So there is one tower over there that's only giving him vision, but it's not affecting the game in any other reasonable way.
And now that we see the step readout being built, Donati having eyes on this gold vein, I think I know what it really was, Lidakor. If he'd tapped this gold earlier, less efficient. Your step readout right now going to come up. That's basically 4,000 gold, minus 10, of course, he tapped a little bit. That's going to just turn into an extra 20%, 50% rather, so it becomes 6k. If he'd been extracting this right now, that's only less, that's like what, going to be maybe 4.5, 5k gold total? Definitely not worth it. This was a maximum efficiency play, folks, I'm guaranteeing it. Artie knew, he must have. Did I sound convincing?
Market coming out for B over here. That's going to be harassed by Donati's Khan. We're entering the stage where the Khan is becoming very powerful with 12 base bow damage, and that's going to be one villager picked off from B. On the other side, though, Donati is trying to do the exact same thing. It's close.
And B doesn't realize. B doesn't realize. It's just freebies for Artie. And Artie, he still has the Falcon, so he can actually look over this tree line if he chooses. It's just such a weird game right now.
Speaking of freebies, look at that. There is villagers being picked off from Donati as well. He's going to have his archer range denied. He lost the gold miner. And that's the importance of the Khan over there. Speaking of which, B should not lose that to the town center fire.
No, because it's just so tanky. Oh, okay, I was about to say it's so tanky, but when you stay around that long, not so much. So Bees is going to go down at a crucial timing as well, because Donati, he's still aggressive with his own Khan, and also the initial influx of Lancers is starting to be produced. And when you look at the difference here, because B invests in those horsemen at the beginning, Artie has surplus stones, so he'll be able to outproduce your Lancer count in this initial phase of Castle.
Okay, hear me out. Mangadai, how do you feel about that? There is not a single foot archer that will deal with that, and Lancer Mangadai is a deadly combination. Looks like it is going to be crossbow only for Donati, but I really could see some intrigue in going into a couple of Mangadai as well for Donati with that archer range.
I think you've been watching too much B. That's a little bit too wide. That's a little bit off meta right there. I mean, I definitely think you're right. There's some value there. I guess maybe the paranoia, the risk is like when you're away from home, you lose the Yam movement speed. I think Magadai is great if you can get out an early outpost, right? I think that's what we usually see is people go Magadai if they outpost rush. But in a Mongol matchup, it could backfire quickly if Lancers get juiced up and all of a sudden your Magadai get gap closed. So kind of understandable why he just goes for the safer choice of crossbows. Also will allow him to build the siege weapons in the field, which is another big benefit.
B is coming out with barracks adding spearmen as opposed to the lancer plus crossbowman approach. If Donati is heavy on the crossbows, the composition of B is going to be way better. But if Donati has some archers going for him, he's going to be able to take down those spearmen very easily. And we can channel this back to the discussion that we had in game number 1 when it comes to that archer plus heavy cavalry unit composition as opposed to just spear and heavy cavalry and basically just a melee unit flood.
Yeah, the interesting thing to think about here actually is because of the way Artie's playing vision-wise, by the time he realizes he's up against spearmen, it might be too late. Because I don't know if you're getting this weird tingly feeling, you know, the kind that comes before this is going to end in one big clash? Like, I'll show you my hand, you'll show me yours, and we'll just say the winner from that. Like, it could end up that way. The only thing that might stop it is the fact that B is getting aggressive because Artie's on the defensive and B is looking to ride in with Lancers already.
And look at that, both sides are using the mobility of that prayer tent out here. Fun fact, the building is actually called prayer tent, but when you pack it up, it's called monastery. But what you can do is pick up relics, place it into it, and then just roll up, and the relics won't be dropped off. So you see that Donati is rolling up the prayer tent, trying to pick up that relic, garrison, and then go away, but B is gonna be a little faster out there, and B is already sending his own prayer tent to the south so he can pick it up with the shaman.
I believe that's what we call getting yoinked. He's well and truly been yoinked on that one. He's going to try and get some more shaman out now, and it looks like B has left the safe one on his side of the map till last, so he'll get the ones that are hotly contended first. He just shifts across and banks him. Don't, like...
You can even place it if it's moving.
Yeah, I was about to say, can we question why that is a thing? Like, how does it... Oh, I'll just stick it on the side. There's a little, like, handy part here next to where the wheels are. It's fine.
I don't think this was even... Like, this is the first time I'm seeing that. I've seen players deploying it and then just backing it up again. But what about this? Now, this rolling circus of relics is now going to be exposed to quite a lot of Lancers, though, so you gotta be careful. But it's going to make it back home, I presume.
But what's protecting it? Where's B's army right now? Oh my. His spears aren't in position to protect it just yet, but it looks like Artie doesn't want to risk it. He won't chase it underneath the TC, even though the Lancers have a lot of armor. However, he is now posturing. He's on the forward, and there it is. Straight away, crossbowman building the Mangonel, and B might be in trouble. Unless he preemptively drops a Springald, this could easily be lights out and Gert's shot. And he's already getting the siege engineering, but it's 50 seconds out. That is going to be a big window for Artie to strike deep.
That is going to be a big window. And you see a market is just now being completed by B. Look at the resources. He's floating 1,700 gold.
Holy moly.
That market was started about 3 minutes ago when the villager was picked off and he never noticed it. So he couldn't balance out his eco up until now. And as you said, that difference in the siege engineering upgrade could be massive. Donati, I'm not sure if he saw the spearman though so far. So he could be surprised. Okay, he sees the barracks, so he should indeed know that.
Yeah, he also got vision with the Mangonel. Don't ask me why siege weapons have this much vision, but the Lancers are out of position. Easy chasing, straight on top of the Mangonels. The movement speed because of the Yam is absurd, and it means instantly the Mangonels burn. A nice move out by Artie. He's going to drop the Deer Stone on the front line, so he'll have the Yam as well. However, these dive-ins are not going to work out to his favor. These are veteran spearmen. You don't have any answer to them if you do not have Mangonels, and it looks like you might have to back up. He's going to build a new Mangonel right in front of B's base. That's a little bit cocky. But look at the counter Mangonel play. B, he's constructing 3. Who needs anti-siege? Just have more of the same thing than your opponent does, right? That works. Yep, that checks out to me. Mangonel shots. Lance is scared away. Spearman, nice sidestep. Damage still done, though. And this is a little bit dicey. I mean, B, he's protecting his wood line with his formation. Finally, he's going to build a Springald. So much resource influx for him. He can snipe out the Mangonel now. He forced the Lancers to chase in, and that means they're all dead. They get surrounded and poked down instantly. And the repairs will keep the Springald alive. And all of a sudden, Artie needs to get the hell out of B's base. He knows he's not welcome anymore. In fact, that Mangonel, ooh, the TC can't quite finish it.
Yeah, that Mangonel is still heavily damaged and there is no repair villager. And with that Springald still alive, it's going to be rather easy to deal with that Mangonel, or even just your own Mangonels at this point. And now the Deer Stones is exposed, and the moment you pack up the building, you forfeit all of its armor. So suddenly, you either keep it here and you lose it, or you pack it up, and then it is much easier to take it down for your opponent. Looks like B isn't going to pursue those, so I guess Donati gets away with that.
I mean, talk about master of exploitation. We already highlight the fact that he knew about banking his relics on the go with the monastery. But I don't know if you noticed this. I think it happened in the initial fight with the Spearman as well, is how he's able to rush so quickly. Because he's using the units spread out and formation-wise, he's doing the formation shuffle. So you notice that there, with the Mangonels at the front, the Spearmen quickly jostle across much quicker than their intended 1.44 movement speed. And it feels like B is gap closing a lot quicker. I mean, when he went in for those Mangonels originally, I almost thought I was looking at Delhi with Forced March.
And look at that, Donati is still rolling around with that monastery, trying to find relics over here. In the end, we have 3 relics for B, 2 only. Actually, there's going to be a 4th relic even for B, so he's going to be once again sitting on 4. And now we're seeing some Lancers hit the field once again for him. He's still playing very defensive though, which makes me feel like he's just building up that one gigantic ball of death, which is mostly just going to be Springolds and Spearman. And as you said, the moment Springolds hit the field, the Mangonels here from Donati won't really work. And because you have Mangonels as well for B, you can take down Archers as well quite easily. The only thing that Donati can do is make his own Springolds and just have more of that than the opponent has.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the size of this siege army. I mean, 5 Mangonels, honestly, like you just form your own little Power Ranger, right? They form into a giant Mangonel because it feels like anything this aims at instantly dies. Like I think even Lancers, they're almost dead to this many rocks falling from the sky. Like this crossbow formation of Artie's is going to backfire very hard. However, sniping the Khan for free like this could be big. And that was greedy from B. But B maybe doesn't need it. The arrow being missing will be frustrating, but he still has the artillery advantage.
And he took down all the cavalry from Donati on the right side, but it also means that all his spearmen are mispositioned. The question is, does Donati have enough to break through this one? Because we're also seeing towers come up with Springald emplacements, making it more difficult to push through.
So many Springalds right now. B, he doubles up Artie. Artie, these are not going to be good trades for him. Springal count after that is going to be even, but B did get rid of the Mangonel, and now B's blindly rolling into his death with them. He says, screw it, take them. I got plenty of money, peasant. I got 4 relics, you got 1.
But what now for Donati? How is he going to deal with the spear flood? Because the spearmen are making it back home, powered by the Yam speed network.
The turning. Crossbows will turn away in time. Springals, it's not going to be free though. New ones being built up. Like you said, that Spearman army, and now Man-at-Arms as well. Everything is looking up for B. And the thing about this switch at this point in the game, after all the Lancers are gone, they're hard to replace. And the Man-at-Arms, if he ever reaches Artie's base, he can dive. But for now, he's just chasing straight onto the Springals. The Spearman just so effective. Oh my goodness.
He's playing with fire over here. Just look at his line of sight. He has no idea what's coming at him. Any moment in this game, Donati could have 5 Mangonels sneaking in that stout forest. Looks like Donati is planning a counterattack with the Knights here. Deer Stones have to be pulled away for Donati. He has to be careful because that could be burned down very easily. But once again, the big problem for Donati right now is that he has no response to those spears. The Springles will take down the siege, but how do you deal with all those spearmen? The crossbows won't work that well.
Well, he's definitely not going archers, I can tell you that much. It's just crossbowmen and springles. No room for mangonels either. So as you said, the spears are going to continue to be unaddressed. And the worrying part is you sniped out his Khan, and you've done nothing with the time. It's 5 seconds until the veteran Khan is back. And then B, we saw how quickly this spearman gap close. With a maneuver arrow, you could easily just be overrun in the blink of an eye.
And Donati is going to just neutralize that sacred site on the right side with the knights. This also means that B will be aware of that knight. It's not like those lancers will be able to even hit his eco. And now the Khan of Donati is running into his own death. What a disaster.
Oh, yeah. The mangonels, I think they ran him over. That's what it looked like in that situation. I don't know where they're going. They're just partying. Like, I didn't realize we could have GTA levels of running people down, but it kind of feels like, I mean, these mangonels are going to run everything down if you're not careful. Artie now up to 6 Springolds. But with the vision, even now in this situation, B can begin to counter-snipe. Mangonels are going to waste the attention of some of these Springolds, and the trades are just going to be good for B. The rocks are going to go flying, and 2 Springolds just burst down by the thing they're meant to counter.
And from behind, you had a force of knights coming in from Don Artie. They were massacred by the spearmen, and the leftover units will just be taken down by all those mangonels. About 8 or 9 knights were just taken down so easily. And how do you even stop this now for Don Artie? He's up against 5 mangonels, multiple springolds, and just the spearman force, which is probably the most scary part of B's army, as surprising as it sounds.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of wacky as well. You can't even go for the cheesy element of scouts to rush down these mangonels because these spears are just lethal. They're doing way too much damage. That cheesy strategy doesn't work anymore. You never seem to be able to get enough springolds, and it feels like unless you can wrap around and find the eco lines, this is not going to work out. And to that point you said about the Lancers coming back to the main fight, maybe if they went for the eco lines, it would be different because it's not like they put a dent in B's military force. Right? The number wasn't hurt at all, but if you hit his eco at least, maybe you can outscale him because as it stands, your artillery count is just so far behind your opponents.
And look at all the towers being placed all across. Those could all be upgraded with Springald emplacements. And just imagine the firepower that you're getting out of those.
Oh, no.
And imagine how difficult it is for Donati to set up and take those down.
He can't even get defensive outpost down himself. Artie will be forced away from that outpost he was building. Outpost on the north is going to be burnt as well. Springle's trying to shift into location, but it just feels like your composition right now has you down in the gutter. If you're just tuning in, this is the last hope for Artie. He loses here, he's out. And B, with such a powerful force, could easily make that happen in the blink of an eye. Don Artie is almost being doubled up on the military front. And this build in the field could backfire if he's not careful. Mangonel's rolling in. Artie forced to turn and fight. Mangonels will push him back again. That means the Lancer in trouble. Rocks flying. Decent damage out. Crossbows getting hit heavy. The movement in from the man-arms they chase. And the damage to this line. Artie has no front line anymore. He has no back line. And these crossbows, they're not increasing. It's a decreasing number constantly. And you're getting ever so close to your primary TC.
And now the newly built Springolds are being sniped by the ones of B. You can't even make new Springolds now for Donati, as the Mangonels are rolling up, and that much firepower can just wipe out towers in a matter of seconds. And you see, Donati is once again scrambling for army, but the military population is heavily in the favor of B, 77 to 35.
It is. I mean, Artie, yeah, he's got a slight eco lead. Oh God, it's gone!
Villagers!
I don't know what there's more of there. Sheep or villagers? I think that is justice. No animal cruelty, B says. Being an animal himself, he will eviscerate Don Artie and kick his ass out of this tournament with a clean victory.
Indeed, just an absolute level of dominance. Don Artie, the best thing that he could hope for before this game was that he can actually win a mirror matchup, because in game number 2 and 3, he was taken down by a slightly better strategy or civilization choice from B. He went into this game with a mirror civilization matchup, but B was always the aggressor in this game. There was exactly one moment where Don Artie seemed like he was going to push his opponent, but that was a push that was repelled quite easily by B, and ever since then, B was the one just swarming the opponent with more army, and the combination of Spearman, Mangonels, and Springles is not something that Don Artie was able to address. Don Artie was never really able to capitalize on his mobility with the Lancers. He wasn't really able to hit the eco of B, and B just slowly steamrolled him with that slow-moving death ball.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, the highlight for me, thinking back to that game, I think it's just like on a kind of micro level, like the different things that B was doing. I think, like, when he was using his Khan, it's a little bit more efficient at first. Yes, he sacrificed it, but he got good trades.